The Galactic Lords presided over the war summit like deities, humoring mortals. Their towering forms, encased in ceremonial battle armor, gleamed beneath the council chamber's bioluminescent glow. Supreme Commander Zyroncal sat at the apex of the crescent table, his slit-pupiled eyes narrowing as the human delegation took their seats. The air hummed with the silent arrogance of a species that had never known defeat. Nathan Grayson, Earth's lead diplomat, exhaled slowly, suppressing the instinct to check the time. He had no illusions about this meeting. The Galactic Lords had agreed to negotiate not out of necessity, but to flaunt their power. They had crushed human colonies in 3 separate star systems and left thousands dead. Now they wanted Earth to kneel, to sign away its sovereignty in the name of mercy. He adjusted the sleek earpiece, translating the alien dialect, though he understood most of it now. The Lord spoke in slow, deliberate tones, words weighted with the kind of patience that belonged to executioners, savoring the moment before the blade fell. Zyroncal leaned forward, tapping his clawed fingers against the polished obsidian of the table. "Humans, we offer terms of surrender." His voice carried a faint amusement. "You will disband your fleets, dismantle your defenses, and submit to our rule. In return, we will allow your species to survive." Nathan resisted the urge to glance at General Marcus Kane, seated beside him. The military strategist remained stone-faced, his gaze locked onto Zyroncal with the detached scrutiny of a hunter analyzing prey. Nathan cleared his throat. "Surrender is not an option." His voice remained level, measured. "But we are prepared to discuss a ceasefire, territorial negotiations, and an armistice that benefits both." Laughter rippled through the chamber. It started with one lord, a deep, guttural sound that spread like a virus among the others. Zyroncal did not laugh, but his smirk deepened, revealing jagged teeth. "You misunderstand," he said. "This is not a discussion. This is your final chance to obey." Kane shifted, but Nathan placed a steadying hand on the table, signaling for patience. "If that were true," he said, "you wouldn't be here. You've seen what humanity is capable of. You wouldn't waste time on formalities if we were as weak as you pretend to believe." The smirk faded. A flicker of something colder passed through Zyroncal's gaze, barely perceptible. Irritation, a shadow of uncertainty. The alien pressed his palms together, the sharp ridges of his fingers clicking against one another. "Very well," he murmured. A single gesture, a barely perceptible flick of 2 fingers. The executioner moved before Nathan fully registered what was happening. A towering enforcer, clad in the black and gold armor of the Lord's elite guard, stepped from the shadows. The energy lance in his grip pulsed once, a silent flare of violet light. Then impact. Agony bloomed in Nathan's chest. His vision fractured, colors bleeding into darkness as he felt himself lifted, weightless for a moment, before gravity wrenched him downward. The breath left his lungs in a sharp gasp. Heat spread through his body, the cold floor rising to meet him. Somewhere distant, Kane shouted. A chair scraped back violently. The guards tensed, weapons primed. Nathan could hear his own heartbeat slowing, the world narrowing. He clenched his jaw, forced his lips to move. A whisper barely audible. "Tell them deploy me instead." His fingers twitched once, then stilled. Kane stood frozen, rage locked beneath a soldier's discipline. The chamber pulsed with eerie silence. Then Zyroncal exhaled, as if dismissing a minor inconvenience. "You may leave," he said. "There will be no further discussions." A pair of guards dragged Nathan's body away. The delegation was herded from the chamber, like cattle spared from slaughter. Zyroncal turned his gaze toward the massive viewing window, where the void of space stretched endlessly before them. The humans had come to beg, and they had been sent home with a corpse. A clear message. a reminder that they were lesser beings. Yet, as he stared into the abyss, a strange discomfort settled in his chest. A mistake. He had felt at the moment the human spoke his last words. He had watched something flicker behind the man's dying gaze. Not fear, not regret, but certainty. It was an expression no defeated species should wear. Zyrenkel dismissed the thought. Humans were nothing. Their resistance would crumble, as all others had before them. Still, he found himself glancing at the exit one last time. Darkness. A void without sound, without form. Then a pulse, an electric flicker in the abyss. Nathan Grayson's mind stirred, raw data flooding his awareness in fragmented bursts. Sensory inputs booted up one by one, calibrating. For a moment, there was nothing but static, a sensation of floating between existence and non-existence. Then a voice, bringing him online. Nathan's awareness snapped into focus. His eyes, no, his optics, adjusted to the dim glow of a sterile chamber. The air smelled of sterilized metal, coolant, and circuitry. He recognized the setting instantly, Black Site Omega, a classified facility buried deep beneath the surface of Mars. Only one program operated here, Project Revenant. His fingers flexed involuntarily. The movement was too smooth, too controlled. No tremors, no fatigue. He wasn't breathing. He didn't need to. He sat up, his joints moving with machine precision, and looked down at his hands. Synthetic, carbon fiber plating wrapped over a structure that mimicked musculature with terrifying efficiency. His mind reeled at the implications. He had died. He remembered the pain, the heat of the energy lance piercing his chest. Yet here he was, resurrected in a form that was faster, stronger, and infinitely more adaptable. A figure approached, boots clicking sharply against the reinforced floor. General Marcus Kane. His face bore the marks of exhaustion, but his eyes held something else, satisfaction. "Welcome back," Kane said, arms crossed. Nathan swung his legs over the edge of the medical slab, testing the weight of his new frame. "How long?" His voice was different, richer, more precise, as if every syllable had been engineered for clarity. 6 days since the summit," Kane replied. "Longer than usual. Your mind took time to stabilize in the interface." Nathan ran a hand over his forearm, feeling the seamless design of his synthetic body. "I assumed this wasn't a last-minute decision." Kane allowed himself the ghost of a smirk. "We planned for contingencies. We didn't plan for them to execute you in the middle of negotiations." His tone hardened. Zyrenkel sent a message. He thinks this war is already won. Nathan's vision sharpened. Data feeds scrolled in the periphery of his augmented awareness, tactical assessments, planetary defense reports, real-time battlefield analytics. Earth's forces were holding, but barely. The Galactic Lords had superior numbers, superior weapons. Their mistake was assuming superiority meant inevitability. "Status?" Nathan asked. "Grim," Kane admitted. "They've intensified attacks on our outer defenses. The Council wants immediate retaliation, but we don't have the numbers for an open engagement. Not yet." He studied Nathan closely. "That's why you're here. You're our equalizer." Nathan processed that in silence. He wasn't human anymore. Not entirely. His consciousness was intact, his memories untouched, but his body had been rewritten, built for war. He could feel the raw potential humming beneath his skin. Enhanced reaction speeds, computational agility, battlefield analysis running in real time. But there was more. His mind felt hungry. The system inside him wasn't just efficient, it was adaptive. He stood, testing his balance. There was no adjustment period. His body responded with flawless precision, movements smoother than they had ever been in life. He turned to Kane. "What's my objective?" Kane tapped a control panel, bringing up a massive tactical display. The holographic projection illuminated the room, detailing a Galactic Lord warship. Not just any warship, Zyrenkel's personal command vessel. "They think you're dead," Kane said. "We're going to use that." Nathan studied the schematics, absorbing every detail. The ship was a fortress, bristling with defense systems, heavily patrolled. A direct assault would be suicidal. But a direct assault wasn't the plan. "You want infiltration," Nathan said. Kane nodded. "Slip past their security. Get to Zyroncal. Take out command leadership before they even realize they're vulnerable." He folded his arms. "The Revenant system makes you the only asset capable of pulling this off." Nathan processed the mission parameters. The odds were steep. But he didn't feel fear. Not the way he had before. His new form wasn't just built for survival. It was designed for adaptation. His mind was already constructing strategies, analyzing attack vectors, predicting response patterns. He could see the path forward with a clarity that no human ever could. He turned to Kane. "I'll need a field test." Kane gestured toward the far side of the chamber, where a group of elite soldiers had assembled. They wore advanced combat armor, their faces obscured behind mirrored visors. Nathan flexed his fingers. This would be interesting. The first soldier lunged. Nathan barely needed to think. His body moved before conscious thought intervened. He twisted aside, his arms snapping forward in a blur, striking with calculated force. The soldier crumpled. Another charged. Nathan analyzed his footwork mid-motion, predicting the angle of attack before it even began. He ducked under the incoming strike, delivering a precise blow to the pressure point at the base of the soldier's skull. The rest attacked in unison. It didn't matter. Nathan weaved through them, dismantling their formations with terrifying ease. Every movement was optimized, every action executed with mathematical precision. The battle lasted seconds. As the last soldier hit the ground, gasping for breath, Nathan exhaled, a reflex rather than necessity. Kane stepped forward, surveying the aftermath. He didn't look surprised. He had expected this. Nathan straightened. "Field test complete." Kane tapped his communicator. "Prepped the insertion craft." Nathan looked at the warship schematic one last time, memorizing every entry point, every structural weakness. Zyroncal had sentenced him to death. Now he was returning the favor. Kane placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "We only get one shot at this." Nathan's gaze didn't waver. "That's all I need." The void of space stretched infinitely in all directions, silent and indifferent. Amidst its vastness, a single stealth craft drifted like a shadow, its hull designed to absorb and refract enemy scans. Inside, Nathan Grayson stood motionless, eyes locked onto the warship looming ahead, the fortress of Zyroncal. Data streamed through his consciousness, analyzing sensor patterns, patrol routes, thermal signatures. The Galactic Lords thought themselves untouchable behind their walls of alloy and energy shielding. They had no concept of what was coming. The mission had been calculated down to the millisecond. Kane had ensured every factor was accounted for: approach vectors, emergency contingencies, extraction routes. But there was always uncertainty, always variables. That was where Nathan thrived. He wasn't a machine executing pre-programmed maneuvers. He was human instinct fused with algorithmic precision, adaptation made manifest. A soft chime signaled final approach. The warship's external defenses were near impenetrable, but every structure had weaknesses. Nathan had found one, an exhaust conduit large enough for infiltration. It cycled every 30 seconds, venting radiation bursts that could fry unprotected organic matter. He wasn't organic anymore. The countdown hit 0. He launched. Zero gravity embraced him as he cut through the darkness, body streamlined, motion controlled. No wasted energy. No unnecessary movement. The conduit yawned open, spewing heat and residual static. He dove inside, gripping the metallic frame as it sealed shut behind him. Darkness swallowed him whole. His optical sensors adjusted instantly, mapping the narrow shaft in infrared. He moved like liquid, navigating the confined space with effortless precision. Heat waves pulsed against his reinforced plating, but they were irrelevant. The old Nathan might have felt the suffocating crush of claustrophobia in this tunnel of metal and fire. The new Nathan felt nothing but purpose. The exit point came into view. He pressed against the hatch, a neural command hacking into the system in microseconds. The lock disengaged. He slid through. He emerged into the underbelly of the warship, a maze of maintenance corridors and access junctions. The air smelled of scorched metal and synthetic oils. Alien voices murmured somewhere beyond the walls, guttural and sharp. He moved. Every step was calculated, every turn mapped to avoid detection. Guards patrolled in rigid formations, their movements precise, predictable. They relied on technology, on security systems designed to track heat signatures and electromagnetic disturbances. Nathan bypassed them all. He didn't register as human. He was a ghost slipping through their fortress, invisible in plain sight. He reached the central transit hub, a massive chamber where elevated platforms crisscrossed above a power core humming with barely contained energy. Here security was tighter. Heavily armed enforcers stationed at key points, their armor gleaming under sterile white lights. Nathan assessed. Direct confrontation was inefficient. Stealth remained optimal. A supply drone hovered past. His augmented mind predicted its flight path within milliseconds. He moved, aligning his trajectory perfectly, latching onto its underside as it ascended. No alarms triggered. No deviations detected. He rode the drone across the chamber, unseen above the patrols. His body pressed against the cold plating. The drone reached a secondary maintenance hatch. He disengaged, slipping through before the automated locks reset. Now he was inside the restricted zone. Zyrenkal's personal quarters were beyond the next checkpoint, guarded by biometric scanners and reinforced blast doors. No brute force would get him through. But Nathan didn't need brute force. A lone officer approached, walking with the assurance of someone who believed themselves safe in enemy territory. Nathan moved like a phantom, a precise strike to the nerve cluster at the base of the alien's skull rendering him unconscious before he even registered danger. He caught the body, dragging it into the shadows. A moment later, he walked out, armor repurposed, gait adjusted, posture mimicking the officer's physiology with unsettling accuracy. The guards barely glanced at him. The scanner accepted the officer's credentials without hesitation. He was inside. The chamber was a monument to arrogance. High ceilings, walls adorned with artifacts of conquered civilizations, a throne-like seat positioned before a panoramic viewport. Zyrenkal stood at its center, hands clasped behind his back, gazing into the void. Nathan stepped forward. No need for pretense now. The door sealed behind him. Zyrenkal turned. His expression remained impassive, but a flicker of something passed through his reptilian eyes. Confusion. Recognition. Then, the first trace of something deeper doubt. Impossible, the alien murmured. Nathan said nothing. He took another step, the sound of his footfall unnaturally soft. Zyrenkal's hands twitched. His claws flexed. You were executed. Nathan tilted his head. Was I? The alien's gaze darted to the comms panel at his side. A subtle shift in weight, preparing to move. Nathan was faster. In the span of a breath, he closed the distance. A calculated strike, precise and unerring, sent Zyrenkal crashing backward against the throne. The alien's breath left him in a sharp hiss. His fingers fumbled for a concealed weapon beneath his robes, but Nathan caught his wrist, twisting it just enough to make pain a lesson. You should have listened, Nathan said, voice devoid of warmth. Zyrenkal's breathing quickened. His eyes darted, not with the fear of a dying man, but with the racing calculations of a commander realizing he had gravely miscalculated. This is what humans are. The words were hoarse. Nathan leaned in. Adaptation. The warlord's lips parted, as if to speak, but Nathan was already moving. A sharp strike, a controlled application of force, and Zyroncal slumped forward, unconscious. Not dead. Not yet. Nathan lifted his wrist, activating his communicator. Package secured, he said. The extraction sequence was already in motion. Time to go. The warship trembled as alarms howled through its corridors. The fortress of Zyroncal, once an unassailable bastion, was now a prison under siege, from the inside. Nathan moved swiftly, his augmented senses processing the chaos with machine-like precision. The extraction had begun. He hoisted Zyroncal's unconscious form over his shoulder, adjusting for the added weight without breaking stride. Every second mattered now. The longer he remained inside, the higher the probability of mission failure. Through the warlord's ornate chamber, hidden doors slid open, revealing reinforced pathways known only to high-ranking officials. Nathan had decrypted the access logs before arrival. He knew exactly where they led. As he reached the corridor, a squad of guards rounded the bend. Their exoskeletal armor gleamed under flickering red lights, weapons raised in immediate recognition of the threat. They did not hesitate. Neither did he. Nathan surged forward, a blur of motion and calculated force. The first soldier fired, a split second late. Nathan's body twisted midair, avoiding the plasma burst as his free hand gripped the rifle, wrenching it sideways. The alien staggered, off balance for a fraction of a second. That was all Nathan needed. A precise strike collapsed the warrior's trachea. The others opened fire. Nathan moved through the storm, predictive algorithms processing trajectories before they were even fired. He weaved between shots, striking with lethal efficiency, shattering knee joints, disabling weapons, rendering them unconscious rather than dead. The only thing more terrifying than a killer was an enemy who had the choice to kill and didn't. He stepped over their fallen forms, adjusting his grip on Zyroncal. The warlord stirred, groggy, instincts fighting to resurface. Nathan increased the pressure around the alien's neck, not enough to harm, just enough to remind him that struggling was pointless. The warlord's body tensed, then stilled. Reaching an access terminal, Nathan bypassed the security locks, forcing a reroute to the lower hangar bay. The AI defenses were adapting, rewriting protocols to trap him inside. But they weren't fast enough. The door ahead hissed open, only for another figure to emerge. Lord Vielor, the second in command of the Galactic Lords, the one who had stood beside Zyroncal during the execution. His posture radiated cold calculation. He did not draw a weapon. He did not call for reinforcements. He simply watched. Nathan took a measured step forward. "Impressive," Vielor said, voice a silken whisper beneath the wailing alarms. "No species should be capable of this." Nathan said nothing. Vielor tilted his head. "I know what you are. Not just a soldier. Not just a machine. You are something in between. And yet," his eyes narrowed, "I see the conflict within you." Nathan flexed his fingers, shifting his stance slightly. A preparation, subtle but deliberate. Vielor exhaled slowly. "Tell me, human, do you think this will change anything?" Nathan held his gaze. "Yes." The alien warlord's mouth twitched, as if on the verge of amusement. "Then you are mistaken." He moved. Fast. Nathan barely sidestepped in time as Vielor's arms sliced through the air, the movement almost unnatural in its precision. Not brute force. Not uncalculated rage. This was a trained warrior, a predator who had seen countless battles. Nathan's mind registered the patterns in real time, microexpressions, muscle tension, weight distribution. He countered. A brutal clash of strength and speed followed, both combatants shifting in and out of striking range, each probing for a weakness. Vielor was disciplined, relentless, but Nathan was something else. Where the alien fought with decades of refined skill, Nathan adapted. He learned. Every feint, every angle, every defensive shift It became data absorbed into instinct. The shift was subtle, but unmistakable. Valor's confidence wavered. A flicker of something foreign in his eyes, realization. Nathan didn't give him time to process it. A final strike. A calculated pivot. Valor staggered. Nathan seized the moment, driving him back, pinning him against the bulkhead. The warlord exhaled sharply, struggling against a force he did not expect. Nathan leaned in. Do you feel it? Valor's breathing was uneven. What? Nathan's voice was calm, almost detached. Doubt. The alien's fingers curled into fists. But the fight had already left him. The realization that no amount of power, no years of training, no military dominance could prepare them for this. For humanity. Nathan released him. Valor remained still, processing what had just happened. He did not call for his guards. He did not move to stop Nathan as he carried Zyrencal past him, toward the final checkpoint. Nathan reached the hangar. His ship was waiting, cloaked in the artificial shadows of disrupted sensor grids. The extraction beacon blinked, a silent countdown to departure. Behind him, distant echoes of soldiers, storming the corridors, filled the air. The warship was still locked in a state of chaos. Nathan secured Zyrencal within the restraints of the vessel, stepping back as the cockpit interface lit up. A message flickered across his HUD. Kane's voice crackled through comms. You have him. Nathan's gaze lingered on the unconscious warlord. Yes. Then bring him home. Nathan piloted the ship into the void. The Galactic Lords would remember this day. The day their arrogance was shattered. The day they realized humanity was not just another species to be conquered. They had tried to erase him. Now he was their reckoning.